What is up, Watch fam? Happy Friday, and welcome to this week's episode of Liquor Run. I am Christian from Theo and Harris. This is my dad, Rolly, and today we're going to be jumping into a bottle of what, Dad?
We're going to drink a little Greuner Veltliner from Austria.
And we're going to be talking about Roger Federer Rolex, and why I think their partnership is just so perfect. So let's do it.
I'm excited.
All right, before we jump in, a quick wristwatch check. You're wearing your PAM.
I think for the third week in a row, fourth week in a row. Every week, I love this watch more and more.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think you're getting more used to it.
I'm getting used to the size.
Yep.
I know we said from the beginning that it while it's big, it's flat, and believe me, it works.
And the lugs are like non-existent.
Yeah, the lugs.
So really, I mean, although it's big at 45, I think it fits you really well. We've got a lot of straps coming in for you pretty soon.
I can't wait.
There are some tremendous companies from really all over the world that we're going to be working with, and just creating an episode for my dad here. I'm going to put some straps on, do some reviews, give some notes, talk about some brands. I'm really excited. I think there are a lot of small companies that really deserve some spotlight.
I would love to do that.
We're excited. We're going to do it. I'm wearing my Rolex Datejust, reference 1601. You remember when I bought this watch?
Not only do I remember it, the watch is absolutely gorgeous.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
T&H Jean Rousseau strap.
Yep.
I have the Type 1. You have the Sark.
I have the Sark.
How do you like it?
I love the Sark. I want to wear it.
Your gold Datejust.
She's out of commission right now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
She needs a little tune-up.
A little tune-up. We have to fix the date wheel. The Cutty Sark. The Sark is named after Cutty Sark, which is classic Scotch whiskey, right? That we drink at home. All right, so let's crack open this bottle of wine, and let's ask some big questions about this Rolex Roger Federer partnership, and then we'll get into wine.
All right.
Roger Federer has been a Rolex partner for a long time, right? I mean, as long as I know of tennis and Roger Federer, he's been wearing Rolex.
As far as I know, we watch occasionally.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's always sporting a Rolly.
And as we know, Federer wins a lot of championships and a lot of trophies.
Perhaps the greatest tennis player to ever play the sport.
So what we're going to be talking about in a minute after the wine is that partnership kind of in detail, and why it just might be genuinely one of the best watch partnerships in the world. How that, whatever they're giving Roger Federer, it's worth it and maybe double. So we'll get into that in a second. But let's jump into this wine real quick.
Last year, we turned you guys on to Bobelsberg Greuner Veltliner, right?
Love that bottle.
What a revelation. And I hope that some of you guys and gals went out to the store and got your hands on an Austrian Greuner. One of the last episodes we did in 2017, we said one of the things that I want to know more about, Austrian wines, Greuner in particular.
Yeah. And who was listening?
Huh?
Who was listening?
Our lovely Anna. So, as part of my Christmas gift, I got a wonderful a trio of wines.
Yeah.
This is the first one that we're cracking open.
All wines that you wanted to learn more about this year.
Every single country that I mentioned, I got in my little wine box or wine
cheers
pack.
To Anna.
Cheers to Anna. Yep.
Anna sits back there, but she's listening.
Yeah. So, what can I tell you? Bernhard Ott is the producer. They've been making wine for, probably since the 19th century. In the 90s, I think in
1800s?
Like 1895, 1892. Yeah, so there's a long legacy there. Here's what you need to know. They have several levels of wine. This is their entry-level wine. Not all of their grape that goes into this wine is from their own vineyards. However, that's not a bad thing. All of the wine is organic, and they go through biodynamic farming, so they don't use pesticides. So it's an organic wine.
Interesting.
And
I love the little branding here with this logo, hand-picked, with the actual little, with the little clamp or the little, I don't know, what is that called? Scissor? What is that?
Little hand scissors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
This is delicious.
This is
green
crazy.
Apple
Green apple. It is bracing acidity.
It's delicious.
But there's a lovely honeysuckle note to this wine in the mid palate that is incredible. Never had this wine before, but this is an incredible yin yang between, and even saltiness.
I'm getting a lot. I'm getting the salt.
And salinity in this
green
wine.
Apple.
Yeah,
not the honey yet. Let's keep going.
I'm getting honey on almost on the aftertaste.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
I figured you were drinking as quickly as I would. Anna, you should taste this. Give it a shot.
Unbelievable. Do yourself a favor. Go out, try Greuner Veltliner. Go to a good wine shop and ask them for Austrian wine. It is truly a revelation. These wines don't get enough press. I hope that the viewers that we get here give it some props and start putting Austria on the map.
Growing up with you, you know, I've been listening to wine since I'm like 8, and I've been drinking wine since, I don't know, like 14 or 15.
Well, what was the first glass of wine you really had?
When we were in Spain? We were in Plaza Mayor, right?
Plaza Mayor.
I was 9. I was 9 years old.
9 years old.
And we're out at Plaza Mayor. It must have been, you know...
Midsummer.
Midsummer, but like midnight. You know, this is late, and we're eating, and we're having a feast, and I have a glass right in front of me. And the waiter comes over, a gentleman, and not just some kid looking to get a kid drunk. A gentleman waiter comes over and Senor, and he pours me a glass of wine, you know. And I looked at my parents, and I was like, and they died. Right? I think I maybe even had a little bit of that glass.
Of course, you had rosé.
Yeah, some rosé. Yeah. And ever since, you know, more and more as the years go on. But I've learned about wine from you. But Austrian wine was not something that I grew up drinking. It's just not. Mm-hmm. But now through Liquor Run, you've opened my eyes, and now Anna, you know, on this one, to the they have such minerality to them. This one has a beautiful natural fruit acidity.
Yeah.
I love it. I really do.
There's a lot of grace to this wine. If you like old world wines or those wines that have more mineral rather than that gratuitous fruit, you're gonna love this. But anyway, let's talk about Federer. Oh, and by the way, one more point. Common theme. Michael Skurnik is the importer. Well, what did I always say?
Give them your famous Rolly note on picking out wines.
If you don't know about the wine that you're picking or what you're looking for,
and the odds are you won't know every wine.
And most times you won't. I don't. However, the one thing I always turn to when I don't know, but I think I know, I turn to the back of the bottle and always look at the importer. The importer means so much. It's Michael Skurnik, it's Jorge Ordóñez, it's Leonardo Locasio. Yeah. You know, these guys, these companies, it is really a stamp of approval. You're going to be turned on to some stuff that you'll love that you've never heard of, but they take so much pride in the wines that they source and they bring to these shores.
Don't you love that?
I love that because that's how I learn.
Yeah.
So, cheers to Michael Skurnik on this one.
Cheers to you for giving us that note. I learned that. One of my good friends, Paul, learned that from this show. A huge wine guy. Mm-hmm. Guy, you know, wine all day long. Doesn't drink it. No, talks about wine all day long. And that's a really good note that most people don't know. Okay, into Federer. He just won the Australian 2018 Open, and all over the watch press. Was a photo of him, holding up this beautiful trophy and wearing nothing but a Rolex Sky Dweller, which is an incredible watch. Do you know about the Sky Dweller?
I don't.
It's Rolex's, I think at this point, their most complicated watch. It's actually now available in Rolesor, which is a combination of precious metals and steel, whether that be white gold or yellow gold, whatever it may be. Now this one was in a blue dot, combination between precious metals and steel, like the one he was wearing today. But really what's so cool is it's an annual calendar. It's a complicated Rolex, and Rolexes are not all that complicated.
Right.
We have a GMT.
Right.
We have dates, and we have a day. And then the chronograph and the Daytona. But there are so many brands that are inventing so many more complications and executing them in so many more interesting ways. But Rolex is pretty streamlined. They're classical. They're not overcomplicating anything.
Right.
But this watch, coming in around, I think, right below $15,000, is a wonderful bridge between the approachable, quote-unquote, world of Rolex, sub $10,000, in the world of the Trinity. Patek and VC and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So this is a very, very beautiful and strategic watch for Rolex. So that's just a note on the watch itself. But what I think is so interesting here is that Federer is wearing it, and really it couldn't have been more in place.
Yeah, so I love the way that you described where this watch fits in the hierarchy.
Yep.
To me, when you said that, I think so that's the E class of
right. Or really, it's the E class of watches.
Of watches, yeah.
But it's the best for Rolex.
It's the best.
You know what I mean? Like Rolex does get more expensive.
Sure.
But that's as far as mechanism. That's their top line that bridges into the next world. You know what I mean? But you're right, though. As far as watches are concerned, on the large, that is kind of like the, right, that beefy E-class.
Right.
Of course, they go into Bentleys, and we go of serious shit. But it's a very, very good watch. This watch is almost impossible to get now.
No kidding.
In blue, it's I think the retail is $14,700, but they're selling around $20,000.
Wow.
So if you can snag one from an AD, you could literally flip it and make $6,000, in 2 hours if you know what you're doing.
So what are people saying about Federer and the Sky Dweller? What's the buzz?
I don't know if there is, at least at this moment, much, new conversation. But the fact that Rolex is smart enough, and of course they are, it's Rolex for God's sakes, but the fact that Rolex is smart enough to pay whatever the heck they're paying to put this watch on his wrist, knowing that this exact photo of him holding that cup with the watch on his wrist is going to be in every magazine. Right? This is the photo that's going to be everywhere, and Rolex is centerfold.
Yes.
They're right there. And what's so cool about Rolex is the watches are so distinct. I mean, there are a few watches that are so that you could recognize so easily just by looking without the dial. This is the case and bracelet. You knew it was a Rolex.
Right.
Maybe you didn't know it was a Sky Dweller.
I didn't know,
but you knew it was a Rolex.
Yeah. Right.
And that could work for a Nautilus or a Royal Oak, but not for many.
From my standpoint, I saw the photo earlier before we started shooting, and the first thing that comes to my mind is you've got a champion, a bona fide champion wearing Rolex. So that's a beautiful marriage. The other thing that I think is important about that photo is that Rolex doesn't look foreign on Roger Federer's wrist.
No.
To me, it looks natural. I would say that Roger Federer wears Rolex.
Oh, yeah.
All the time. So it doesn't look like a shill, like a real cheap attempt to tell a story about championship in the pinnacle.
Yeah.
This is natural.
Real.
This is real.
Yep.
That's what makes that photo so powerful. And why Rolex was genius. And maybe he didn't even have to bend his arm so much because he believes in the brand.
Totally. Yeah. And really, what brand to be better associated with? If you're going to be associated with a watch brand, what brand better? Rolex is at the pinnacle, certainly as far as public perception. This is a home run.
Right. So I've got two thoughts. Number one, now Roger Federer is 36 years old, still winning championships. But he's at the twilight of his career, his tennis career. Mm-hmm. And there's such a beautiful story to tell about an aging champion who can still win. Yeah. And look at what he's wearing.
Yeah. That is cool. The season.
That I can relate to that. Yeah. It appeals to me.
I'm a seasoned champion.
I'm a champion.
A seasoned champion.
A seasoned champion, right. But you're not going to see many more championships from him in the next few years,
He's become iconic.
But he's fading in glory.
Yeah.
Now, when you compare other attempts by competitors, for instance, you've got Leo DiCaprio with Tag Heuer. That to me looks artificial, feels fake. I'm not buying it.
It's totally artificial.
There's no way in hell that Leo DiCaprio is wearing that.
No, when he's all I don't want to say fat or heavy because he is, but when he's all bearded out and on this yacht with all these models, he's not going to say, "Oh wait, let me go get my links."
No, he's not doing it. I made this reference a long time ago. Paul Masson back in the. I'm sorry. What's his name? Oh God Almighty! I just blew that.
No, this is funny.
It's what's his name? Orson Welles. Orson Welles did a commercial for Paul Masson California wine, and he sat at a table and he declared, "I will never drink a wine before it's time." Paul Masson sucked. He never drank it, and he dropped him as a spokesperson because he never touched this stuff. So that may be a little dramatic, but that's my point. Yep. Really, do you really think that Leo DiCaprio is wearing? Not that there's anything wrong with it.
No, not at all. But it doesn't fit his image.
This is not.
If you sold me a story on I don't know, some race car driver wearing a Carrera, I buy it. The watch is good enough for anybody.
Yes.
But you just don't believe the narrative. When I look at this photo, the DiCaprio photo, you invited a celebrity into an office, right? You paid him $4 million. You paid a bunch of photographers, said, "Hold this watch," and he did. Right. In this era, we're on our phones all day long.
Yes.
People are trying to sell us stuff all day long.
Yes.
I'm one of the people that is on the other end of that. I'm both being sold and selling on the phone every single day. Right. And as a consumer, I know that we're smarter now. Yes. Consumers.
Yes.
it's not enough to just say, "Oh, this is for sale," or look at this celebrity wearing this. It's not enough anymore. Ad people are getting too good. They're being too truthful. So, because when you're truthful, you're upping the ante of what it takes to sell somebody.
Right.
Look at all the competitors in the watch game. They used to, I don't want to say that we've totally changed the watch retail industry, but we 100% in a macro way in the vintage watch industry, we have 100% changed, the way people are buying things. There's no doubt.
Yes.
And all those guys that existed way before us and still exist till today, it's amazing that they've resisted the change, but they used to just list stuff. They just put it up, and they'd show you a photo of it on Instagram.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
There's no real story. There's no real passion. There was no real conversation or father and son camaraderie. I mean, there was nothing apart from a watch. But it's not enough. Mm-hmm. So the Leonardo DiCaprio ads aren't enough. Mm-hmm. The Roger Federer ads, they stand for something.
They do.
And it's true and it's native. So props to Rolex. I'll take a big old smelly dump on any brand ever. I don't care who you are. I will. Even if I love you, I don't care.
This feels right.
This feels so right. Yeah. Good for Rolex.
Yes.
Good for Roger Federer for winning. Congratulations, Roger.
Yeah.
And thank you all for watching.
La Santé.
La Santé.